The advantages of working on a task in solitude than working on it with a group. Working alone on a certain task may be draining and stressful because you have to do everything all by yourself. But working on it with a group and the group relies on you much doesn't make any difference. Yet it even makes things worse. To be practical these days, it is very rare to be in a group where all of you are equally exerting efforts in producing the task, because the one who has the greater potentials always ends up to be the one who does everything for the task. This kind of thing may be helpful especially to those students whose grades are on the edge of a cliff, but we cannot deny the fact that fairness here is being neglected. Working on a task with a lot of people around causes a lot of distractions and temptations. Meanwhile, when you work on it in solitude, you will be more focused. Plus, the students who truly gave it their all will be graded fairly. Are we still learning, or we're just afraid of the deadlines? As we all know, we are all experiencing difficulties and having a hard time about the projects and assignments in school since we're already in senior high level. When it comes to deadline, most of us tend to think negatively, which a date and time only causes stress. We're afraid we won't be able to submit on time because of our busy schedules. But the truth is, deadlines are an important part of our lives. It is easy to say you don't like time limits because they are inconvenient. But if you're not in place to continue on top of your work, will it ever get done? Most of us would keep on procrastinating and let it all pile up because there would be no reason to get it done by a specific time. The world revolves around time, so stop treating deadlines like the enemy and start learning how to meet them because they are necessary.
The damaging effect on smoking cigarettes to minors. Smoking is not good, especially to minors, because exposure to nicotine can have lasting effects on adolescent brain development. Cigarette smoking also causes children and teens to be short of breath and to have less stamina, both of which can affect athletic performance and other physically active pursuits, reduce lung growth, and early cardiovascular damage. Cigarette smoking is dangerous to our health. Smoking is not good for our health because it will affect our lungs function and increase in developing several diseases and increase risk in getting lung cancer. Further, it also reduces the ability to perform physical exercises. It also hampers your physical appearances like giving yellow teeth and aged skin. You also get a greater risk of depression and anxiety.
Mental health over relationships. As far as I've realized, being in a relationship where mental health is unstable is draining, complicating to handle. Relationships and mental health go hand in hand. Do you agree? According to World Health Organization, mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life. How will we be able to love someone if we don't love ourselves first? Secondly, if we don't focus on ourselves, there's a possibility that we could sabotage our relationship to someone that we didn't intend to in the first place. There will be also problems that may affect our partners, leaving them clueless and overthink things. Unstable mental health can lead both partners to a decreased opportunity for bonding and result in unmet needs. Thus, if we don't heal first, we'll bleed onto others who didn't cut us. Therefore, I conclude that prioritizing our mental health should be the first step before entering any relationships.
I did well because I'm not as good as my classmates in school. I'm studious. I need to be more focused and study hard to be able to cope up and understand the learnings in the class. So I've always taught myself to be more focused in my academic because I believe that's the only way for my parents to be proud of me and can be able to use this as a credit in the future, to enter good schools in college and can be able to apply scholarship in the future. Though I'm not saying that extracurricular is a bad thing because a lot of my friends and classmates said that it's a good thing for them to express and can be able to share their abilities and talents in school. But it's just that I did not engage myself to join more about extracurricular activities because I am afraid that I might left behind our topic and lessons in the class and our teacher being teached off, or I might get a low grades that can make myself felt disappointed for myself and disappointed for my parents that have a high expectations for me. So I'd rather be more focused on my academic than joining extracurricular at school.
I'd rather be a careful student driver than a reckless driver. I would be careful when it comes to driving because we don't even know when or where accident happens. Because a lot of drivers are speeding or reckless in driving even when they got drunk or emotionally unstable. And I must should be careful for what nowadays news accident is very frequent, and a lot of students, minors who did not have a license are more reckless in driving. I'm a student too, and who did not have a license, but I realized everything what I experienced last 2021 when I got accident and collapsing, in reverse speeding using motorcycle because I was in hurry to avoid driving at night. But those a lot of experience in mind make me realize that regardless of your vehicle speed, you will still arrive in your destination. Children nowadays will not listen to giving lecture, but sometimes you just have to use words that can relate to them. It's not about how good of driver you are, it's about the people surrounding.
Is strictly using face masks at school essential? Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, using face masks became essential, which is also being used when the government declared new normal. And face-to-face classes was also being approved by the government. At school, I observed that using face masks can be an advantage and disadvantage when learning our lessons. It restricts us from communicating freely and become a burden to our communication when participating and interacting in class. Face masks may help us prevent from being infected by other diseases, but that does not mean that it would be helpful on other way around. I think strictly using a face mask at school is essential, but that does not mean that it will be helpful on other way around, especially when communicating and interacting with other persons.